Hello everybody and welcome to another watercolor tutorial. We are doing another abstract painting because I really like abstract paintings lately. So this one is inspired by Dubovoy artist and I don't even know where to start. I do know we're painting in landscape position, but gosh, where do we even start with this? All right, let's give this a go. I'm gonna take very watered down blue. I'm gonna paint it just above the halfway mark of our painting, straight across, like so. I'm gonna fill that in. This is mostly just so we can see, like the reason I tinted it blue is so we can see roughly where we have painted. When I paint with just water, I have no idea where I've painted and where I haven't. So when we have that, we have to, I don't want to say work quickly, but we have to apply a few layers here. What am I saying? We have to apply a few layers before this dries. So I'm gonna apply some cotton candy pink. That is not the official name, by the way, in case anyone's like, this color doesn't exist. It's just what I'm calling it because it's kind of mixed in with the blue. But you want to be careful not to mix it in too much because then it'll turn purple, which is not a big deal if that's what you want. And the next thing that I want to do, we need, I'm going to take the same blue that I used to water down, to paint the background, but it was super watered down, and I'm just applying it to the base. This time it's not watered down because I want it to spread upwards a tad. The other thing I'm gonna do is grab yellow, like a yellowy orange. Just grab whatever you have. And I want to apply that sort of on top, like so. And actually, if you add a little bit of brown to that, like so, and I don't even know what this is, to be honest. I'm just looking at the painting and trying to replicate it. Maybe it's the sunset. I'm sure it'll all come together eventually. What are we gonna do now? We still have to paint like a mountain range here, but I want to wait until this stuff dries a little bit before we paint that on, otherwise it'll overtake it completely. So let's take my brown. I keep hearing this like crashing outside. And I'm a little bit tempted to stop this and go check out what is going on. Anyways, I've taken like it's almost black actually at this point because I want the brown for a different purpose. And I'm going to apply it at the base of my blue, running as straight across as I can. And when we get to like about 2/3 of the way down, I want to make that a little bit smaller because I want the blue to show through on this section here. So that's good the way that it is. I'm going to take brown now and I'm going to apply it below, but I want to leave like a tiny white gap between the two so that there is a distinct horizon line. And then this is kind of like a bog, so you can paint those land sections of the bog on like this. And just make the ends kind of jaggedy. And I do want to maintain the dark opacity of this, so I am just adding a little bit of black and whatnot. Although I realize now, oh my gosh, I should have applied a background color first to paint this over. But I got ahead of myself. Okay, I have to figure out what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna take like an eggshell. No, I don't want purple. Kind of like an eggshell blue. And we are going to paint that on that is looking more green than blue. Oop, that is way too dark. I wanted this to be very, very light. So I'm filling in this entire section with that kind of eggshell color. It doesn't have to be eggshell, I'm just calling it that. But probably would have been easier to do this before this section, because now I'm trying to be really careful just to kind of paint it in, but not have it bleed out too much. So that works the way that I painted it there. I'm gonna darken this, not darken, but maybe add a little bit of purple, violet, lilac, whatever that is, for a pop of color, so it kind of reflects whatever's going on in the sky there. Sort of like this. And then now I need this to completely dry so that I can do something similar that we did with these guys, but I'm gonna do it with a blue instead. And that's gonna be the, I guess you could think of it as like ice forming over the water. I don't really know what it is, to be honest, if I'm looking at it. So, oh man. Okay, I'm gonna stop before I ruin this. Okay, we will be, actually, sorry, one thing. I do want to add like a little fuzzy outcrop here. Okay, this is gonna be grass or something. That's why I added it there. Oh, actually, sorry, one more thing. I'm gonna take black and I'm gonna add like a little fuzzy patch here, a fuzzy patch here, and maybe another fuzzy patch here, because I want it to like bleed out while it's still wet. Okay. Oh, the other thing I'm gonna do, because this isn't reliant, but I'm gonna darken our black horizon area that we painted earlier now that that's dry. Because I do want it to be dark. And what we can do, because obviously it's not gonna bleed out like it did there, we can tilt our paintbrush kind of parallel to the paper and paint these points to make it look like evergreens or pine trees or something growing without too much effort of painting like the individual evergreens and whatnot. Like that. Okay. All right, let's let this dry and then we will continue on. So this should be dry. We are now going to paint on the icy patch on top. I'm taking a navy blue that I'm gonna water down heavily. And then we'll do something similar we did with this like brown land section. We're gonna do something very similar with our blue. So yeah, there's no real instructions for this part. You just kind of put the ice where you want it to be. And it's personal preference. You can follow roughly what I'm doing. I think I'm gonna make mine a little bit darker though, because it's kind of drying into a wash and I don't want it to look like a wash. I want it to be very sharp. Okay, so something like this. And the thing is, we're gonna have to let this dry as well because I want to add details to these sections, like make this come alive. This will be like something growing out of the bog. And I can't do that if the ice and other things are still wet. I'm just taking the same navy blue, but way like not watered down, and just adding it to the top parts of some of my ice, just to, I don't know, make it look more 3D. Whether that's doing something, I don't know, but let's let this dry. Now that that is dry, hopefully, I've switched to like a liner brush, and I want to paint some details here. So I'm going to paint a jaggedy tree cluster here. And you can make your trees as detailed as you want. The reference photo I'm looking at is wonderful. Like, oh, there's no way I can achieve that. I cannot make hairline lines as thin as that. But I can try to do something similar. Maybe I'll just add another tree to help fill in the gap. And I'll have another tree that's sort of angled here. And you can also have little like grassy details coming from this little island cluster, and I'm gonna have some coming out the other end as shadows. And you can have these little patches, like add these little grassy patches coming out in random places on your bog, because it is a bog, so there's random things growing everywhere. So I'm gonna have another patch here. See, so what I've said in previous abstract paintings is what makes them come together is that one thing that you choose to detail in an abstract painting. So the background can be absolutely the most random colors and whatnot. It could look horrible, but as soon as you add that one detailed element, it makes it come together. And in this painting, it is the trees that is making this evident and obvious what it is. I am gonna add swans or something, some kind of bird flying. Usually I just do like the M shapes, but I wanted to vary this a little bit, and I really like how they look in this individual's painting. So I'm attempting something different. That's not bad. Hey, this looks pretty nifty, guys. I'm happy with it. I'm just gonna do a little speckle because that always makes a painting look, or at least an abstract painting, look pretty cool. And I think I'm gonna cap it at that. So you can just, oops, peel your tape off to reveal nice clean edges, and that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next tutorial.